Good morning. Namaste to each of you. Thank you for joining me this morning to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Let's just take a moment to become present. Find a nice, comfortable seated position, either on a cushion or a towel, blanket, something that'll allow your spine, the back of your spine, back of your neck to sit nice and tall, straight, opening up your chest, and then opening up your diaphragm and opening up your heart. Gently close your eyes and soften your thoughts. Soften your eyes. Soften your shoulders. And soften your heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present, returning to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes now. For this morning's intention, you may think of a positive word or phrase to have with you on your mat and perhaps carry with you throughout the day. This morning's intention I'd like to talk about is Abhyasa. And Abhyasa is Sanskrit for practice. And so Abhyasa, or practice, is used to attain and remain in a state of harmony with oneself. And there are 3 principles for Abhyasa. 1 is practice. 2 is practice. And 3 is practice. Practice, practice, practice. So when we set out in the new year with a desire to improve something about ourselves, perhaps developing new good habits, that's where Abhyasa will come in. Practicing and being intentional and persevering about what you are trying to improve or developing a good habit, that energy will become the habit. For example, in our intention from last week, you talked about having a intention and as opposed to a resolution. So that intention is more of a mindset and resolution is more of a goal, hard and fast goal. So the intention of focusing on being healthy, we identified that perhaps maybe a daily yoga practice will help us with being healthy. But it's difficult to develop habits. And I was listening to a podcast, Light Watkins, who teaches meditation. He was talking about how to develop good habits, and he had a good one, I thought, and that was to pair it with something that you typically do every day. It's just basically replacing one thing with another. But he also suggested pairing it. And so if you want to develop a daily yoga practice, pair it with something you do daily, like maybe you have a daily cup of coffee or a daily cup of tea. And so you kind of connect those two in tandem, maybe having your coffee or tea while you're doing yoga or before or after, but making that connection of those two will help you develop that habit. So for meditation, that's another Abhyasa or practice. And the Abhyasa is this trying to attain and remain in a state of harmony with oneself. And it's often said that meditation is a wonderful way of creating that harmony with oneself. So again, taking like Watkins' suggestion of pairing it, this one's even easier, pairing it with your breath. I mean, we're all breathing. So you just take 5 minutes of your normal breathing, or you can maybe use the Dirja, the 3-part breath, or some of Riti, that equal length breath, something that helps you just remain still and present and in a meditative mode. So let's try that. We'll do that. We'll pick your style of breathing and just focus on your breath. And that's a meditation. We'll do that for a few minutes. And I will meet you on the mat. And you may open your eyes now, and we'll begin practicing our yoga practice. So Abhyasa practice can be a verb or a noun, like a lot of words, but it's kind of fun to think of both those terms of practicing the verb and practice the noun while you're trying to develop a new routine, a new rhythm, a new good habit. So let's start with a few shoulder shrugs. We'll raise our shoulders gently up toward our ears, and then gently drop them down, and then roll them back up toward our ears, and gently drop them down. And just kind of loosen up the upper body. And as you do that, you can try to synchronize your breath with your movement. And maybe change directions just a little bit. The idea is to relax and loosen up. practicing relaxing. Alrighty, and then we're going to bring our fingertips to the mat on each side, and we'll do some sun breaths and chest openers. And again, we can synchronize our breath to the movement. So inhaling, lifting our hands up, coming overhead, arms are close to our ears. And then with our hands in prayer pose, we'll bring them down to heart center on the exhale. Then inhale, opening them up wide, bringing them to at least our shoulders, maybe just a little bit further back, really opening up your chest. And then exhaling, bringing them back to Anjali Mudra. And then inhaling up, bringing them up and overhead. Arms are alongside our ears. And then gently drifting our fingertips back down to the mat. Do that a couple more times. So inhale, lifting up. And then exhale, coming down to heart center. Inhale, opening up wide. And exhale, closing back to Anjali Mudra. Then inhale up. And then just drifting our fingertips back down to the mat. There's a very gentle snow falling outside my windows. And just kind of imitate that. One last time, inhale up. Exhale to heart center. Inhale, opening up wide. And exhaling, closing to prayer pose, Anjali Mudra. Inhale up. And exhale, fluttering down. Bring our hands up overhead again. Inhaling up. And then we'll twist to the left, bringing our hands down. Right hand lands on our left knee, left hand behind our hips. And then we'll sweep our hands up again and bring our torso over to the right. And then dropping our arms down, left hand on right knee, right hand behind our hips. Nice stretch and twist. Inhale up. Turning over to the left side again, bringing our hands down. And then one last time, inhale up, twisting over to the right, and bringing our hands down. And coming back to center, we're going to roll down on our backs. So you can choose whichever way roll down is comfortable for you. I'm going to have my knees bent. Just slowly connect each vertebra with the mat. Whoops. Not as slow as I would have liked, but it works. Bringing our knees to our chest. Give them a nice hug and then rock back and forth. Just kind of wake up your spine, give your lower back a nice massage. And really connect our lower back and back with the mat. And then we're going to wrap our interlaced fingers around our right knee and extend our left leg fully out to toward the end of the mat. Keep both feet, well, of course, the right one you are keeping up above, but keep the left foot off the mat, probably about 6 inches. And then we're going to take our feet and make circles. So you can start going clockwise with both feet. And then counterclockwise. Kind of a point flex thing going on. And then we're going to raise the left leg up toward the sky. So the sole of our foot is facing the sky. Navel's tucked to the spine. And just give your leg a nice stretch. And then we'll bring that left leg down, all the way down to touch the mat. And then bring your right foot, placing it on your left leg just above the knee. And then take our right knee with our left hand and guide the right knee over to the left. So we're doing a nice twist. Our shoulders are still on the mat. Spine, try to keep that on the mat and just bring your right leg over to the left. You can bring your right arm out to goalpost if that helps. Just nice recline twist. Then we'll bring both knees back to our chest, give them a nice hug again. And this time we'll make circles with our toes. Just make nice big circles with our toes, with our knees to our chest. Again, giving that lower back a nice massage. You can reverse that circle if you like. And then with our interlaced fingers, we're going to wrap them around our left knee and extend our right leg out, keeping it hovering over the mat by about 6 inches. And then again, we'll just do some circles with our feet, kind of loosen up our ankles. And maybe go the opposite direction. And then keeping our left knee toward our chest, we're going to lift our right foot up toward the sky with the sole of our foot reaching up toward the sky. And then bringing the right leg all the way down, touching the mat. We'll set our left foot on our right leg. And then bringing our left knee over to the right side of the mat, keeping our shoulders nice and snug in the mat. And perhaps giving our left arm a goalpost shape. And then bringing both knees again back to our chest and giving them one last hug. And then we're going to either roll up, come to tabletop position, or you can roll over to your side and make your way up to tabletop, whichever you prefer. I'm just going to roll up, cross my legs, and cross over, coming to tabletop position. So a tabletop position, your wrists are right below your shoulders, knees right below your hips, navel's tucked to the spine, nice flat back, gentle pressure in your hands to create an even distribution of weight in your hands, and then also to keep some space between your shoulder and your ears. And with our gaze going straight down, we're going to turn our nose and point it over to the right side, just turning our head to the right. And then coming back to center, we'll take our nose and point it to the left. and then back to center again. And then just create a nice little slow rhythm, moving your head to the right and then back to center and then to the left. And gently loosening up the back of the neck. Then we'll come back to center and we'll do a few cat-cows. So exhaling, rounding our back, dropping our head and our hips down for cat. Feeling that stretch all along your spine. And then lifting your head and tailbone up. Sending your gaze straight ahead for cow. And then again, exhaling, rounding the back for cat. Then gently lifting your head up, sending your gaze straight ahead for cow. We'll do a few more of these at your own pace, your own breath, synchronization. There's so many poses in yoga that really kind of do have a twofold effect. One is, the stretching and making you flexible or strong or working on your balance, but also it's meditative at the same time. And I think of this as being one of them, where I'm working on my breath, working on stretching, but it's very meditative at the same time. Alrighty, we'll come back to tabletop. Then we'll go into bird dog. So bringing our knees together, we extend our right leg out at hips height, your height of your hip, and try not to tip over to the side. Try to keep straight up. So that involves keeping a nice even distribution of weight in your hands. And then lifting your left arm up. We'll point on the inhale and flex our foot, toes going toward the ground on the exhale. Point, inhale, flex, 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 exhale, and bring both hand and knee back down. We'll do that on the other side, so lifting the left leg up, finding that even distribution of weight in our hands so we're not tipping to the side. And then lifting the right arm up. Point, inhale, flex, exhale. 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 Point, inhale, flex, exhale, and bring your hand and knee back down. And then we'll lower our hips to our ankles, stretching our hands out in front of us, coming into child's pose. And then we'll come back up to tabletop, tucking your toes underneath. We'll walk the hands back, coming into a squat, and then pushing down in our toes, coming up to mountain pose. So a mountain pose, our toes are lined up along the straight line, pointing toward the straight line. And then we're gonna lift our toes up off the mat and then bring them down to the mat, lifting our heels up off the mat and bringing our feet back down and really connecting with the mat, feeling that grounded sensation that mountain pose has, that strength, stability, and stillness that mountain pose has. The other thing that mountain pose has is the essentials of good posture. So with our legs nice and straight and strong, we have a gentle bend in our knees, our navel's tucked to our spine, elongating our back of our spine and back of our neck. Our shoulders are relaxed, rolled back. Chin is just tucked slightly back, not down, but back, creating that nice long spine again. Crown of our head reaching up to the sky. And then we're going to sweep our hands up with a big inhale. And then exhale all the way down to the mat, bending our knees as we go to support our lower back. And then inhale, lifting our hands to our shins, creating a nice flat back, nice long spine, back of the neck. Our gaze is straight down. And then send the crown of our head down toward the mat. We'll just let gravity take over here for a moment. And not touching the floor. So you really feel that gravitational pull, with your head and your shoulders, and your torso. And sweeping our hands all the way up overhead. We're going to bring them up overhead and rise up onto our tippy toes. And do a few sun breaths and tippy toes. So slowly lowering our hands, slowly lowering our heels back down to the mat. Nice control. And then we'll do that 2 more times. So inhale, sweeping our hands slowly up as we slowly come up onto our tippy toes. And then slowly coming back down again. And one last time, slowly coming up. Seeing how high up you can come up onto your tippy toes and maintain your balance. And then slowly coming back down again. Strengthening up our feet. And then we'll bring our hands all the way down to the mat, bending our knees as we go. Inhale, bringing our hands to our shins, flat back for half forward fold. Dropping the crown of our head down toward the mat. And sweeping our hands all the way up overhead again. Bringing our palms together. And a few supported side stretches. So bring your right hand down to the right thigh, sliding it down to the right knee. Tipping our torso over to the right. And then inhaling, bringing the arm back up. Hands come together, and then dropping the left hand down to the left thigh, sliding it down toward our left knee, tipping our torso to the left, and then back up again. Hands come together, right hand comes down, sliding it down to the right. And then back up again. Hands come together and the left hand then comes down, sliding the left hand down toward the knee and then back up again. And we'll bring both hands back down to the mat, bending our knees. Inhale, lifting up to half forward fold. Exhaling, dropping the crown of our head down toward the mat. And then sweeping our hands all the way up overhead. Arms go straight up, and then we're going to go into chair pose. So we're going to drop our hips down toward our ankles, bending our knees, but keeping our knees behind our big toes. And keeping our arms up if that's comfortable, or you can bring them out straight, whatever section for you works for comfort. And then back up again. And we'll do one more of these. So arms straight up, bending our knees, dropping our hips toward our ankles. Just sending our gaze down, make sure that our knees don't go in front of our toes. And then back up again. And then bring both hands all the way back down to the mat, bending the knees. Hands come to the shins, half forward fold. And then dropping the head down for forward fold. And sweeping our hands all the way up overhead. Hands come together. Hands come to heart center. And then hands come to the back of the hips. Feet are about hip width apart. Come into supported back bend. So the palms against our hip bones. Our shoulders nice and relaxed and rolled back. Chin tucked toward our chest. We'll just slide our shoulders backward to the point where we can continue to breathe with a nice flow. And then coming back up straight. Alrighty, so we'll start the mountain pose. We'll sweep our hands all the way up overhead again. And they're going to remain about shoulder width apart. We're going to go into chair pose. So again, lowering your hips down toward your ankles, keeping your knees behind your toes. And then we'll drop our hands to the mat. And then bringing them to our shin for half forward fold. Nice flat back. And then placing both hands on the mat and sending both feet to the back of the mat, coming into plank pose. Plank pose with our wrists are right below our shoulders. Heels are pushing to the back of the mat. And with our elbows tucking toward our ribs, we're going to come down to the mat, either chaturanga, or if you like, knees, chest, chin. And then once we've landed on the mat, keeping our hands right below our shoulders, we'll gently lift our chin up and our chest up off the mat, and then lift our hands up off the mat for baby cobra. And then placing the hands back down on the mat. And you can come up, we're going to head up to downward dog. So you can go straight up from here by tucking your toes under, or if you like, you can make use of your knees, pushing down, coming onto your knees, then tucking your toes under and lifting up to downward dog. Your choice. And once we're in downward dog, we'll pedal out a little bit, walk our dog. And inhale, bringing the right knee to the right elbow, pushing off with our left foot, and then back again and pedal out. And then we'll bring that right knee again to the right elbow, pushing off with the left foot, and then back again, pedaling out. And then on the third time, we're going to bring the right foot all the way up between our hands, coming into runner's lunge. So inhale, lifting the foot up, sending it between your hands, coming into runner's lunge. So your knees right above your ankle, nice right angle. And we'll pivot our back foot down and push down into the front foot, coming up to warrior one. So you can either have your chest facing the top of the mat or your chest facing the left corner of the mat. See which works best for you. And then bringing our hands back down to the mat. We're going to send our foot back again and come into plank. Here in plank for a moment. And then slowly again, lower to the mat. And this time, we're going to have our hands under our shoulders and come up to cobra, regular cobra. So we lift our chin, lift our chest, pushing down to our hands and bringing our chest up off the mat. And again, we're going to go into downward dog, so you can utilize your knees, or if you like, just tuck your toes under and come up to downward dog. And we'll pedal out here for a little bit. Then we'll do a three-legged dog. So we're going to lift our right foot up and then bring it back down to the mat. And again, try not to twist too much in this. Just bring the leg straight back. So bring that foot up to the air again for three-legged dog and back down to the mat. And then we're going to bring that right foot again between our two hands. So we're going to bring our inhale, lifting our foot, bringing it between our hands. And then pivot the back foot down so it's resting fully on the mat. And then come up and come into warrior two. So sweep your arms around, bring them straight out at shoulder height. Our front leg, the knees over the ankle, back foot, foot's nice and snug in the mat. And really connect with the mat, really ground yourself in this pose. And then we're going to straighten out the front leg, the right leg. Reach forward with our right hand and send it down to our right leg, coming into triangle pose. And you can send your gaze up to your left hand. if that's comfortable. And then twist, pivoting to the front, coming back to runner's lunge. We're going to bring our right foot back again to plank. And then again, lower down, knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. And this one will be up dog. So we'll lift our chin, lift our chest, push all the way down our hands so we extend them fully, coming to the tops of our feet. And then we'll turn our feet over and come into downward dog. And pedal out here for a few moments. And then we'll slowly walk our feet up to our hands, coming into forward fold. Lift our hands to our shins, half forward fold, nice flat back. Bring our fingertips back down to the mat, bend our knees, and then lift our arms up so we're in chair pose. And then extend our legs up, standing up, in upright mountain pose, and bringing our arms down. Well done, everyone. We'll do that again on the other side. So we'll lift our hands all the way up to the sky, keeping them about shoulder width apart. Then bending our knees, lowering our hips toward our ankles, coming into chair pose. And then bringing our hands down to the mat for forward fold. Inhale, lifting for half forward fold. And then bringing our hands back down, planting them on the mat, coming into plank pose. And then we'll go either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga, down to the mat. Whoop. And then gently lifting our chin and chest up, lifting our hands off the mat for baby cobra. And then bringing our hands back down. And again, you can use your knees, so pushing down with your hands coming to your knees, and then tucking your toes under, coming into downward dog. And we'll walk the dog out here for a few moments. And then we'll bring the left knee to the left elbow, pushing off the right foot. And then back again to downward dog and pedal out. And bring that left knee again to the left elbow. And then back to downward dog and pedal out. And then we're going to bring that left foot all the way up between our hands, coming into runner's lunge. So we guide that all the way up. Come into runner's lunge. And the back foot pivots down so the foot is firmly on the mat. Pushing down to the front leg. We'll come up into warrior one. And then dropping our hands back down to the mat. Sending our left foot back to the right, coming back to plank. And we'll lower again, knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. And this time we'll do regular cobra. So lifting our chin and our chest up, pushing into our hands, coming into cobra. And then tucking our toes under, coming into downward dog. Or utilizing your knees, coming into downward dog. Pedal out here for a little bit. And then with our left foot, we're just going to lift it straight back, the three-legged dog. And then back down, pedal out. And again, lift it again, straight back, three-legged dog. And then back down and pedal out. And then we're going to bring that left foot between the hands, coming into runner's lunge, pivoting our back foot down. We'll sweep both hands up into the sky, coming into warrior two. And we'll send our gaze to the left fingertips. Just really feel that grounding sensation, the strength in your legs, strength in your arms. And we'll straighten out our front leg, left leg, sending the left fingertips forward and then down to triangle pose. Sending our gaze up to the right hand. And then the right hand comes all the way down to the mat, pivoting back to runner's lunge. We'll send that left foot back, coming into plank for the last time. Yay! And then lowering down to the mat, knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. And then we'll do an up dog. So fully extend, push down, fully extend your arms all the way up, coming to the tops of your feet, and then flip your feet over and send your hips up to the sky for downward dog. We'll pedal out here for a moment. And then slowly walk our feet up to our hands, coming into forward fold. We'll bring our hands to our shins, flattening out the back for half forward fold. And then bring the fingertips to the mat, bending our knees, sending our hips down toward our ankles, sending our arms up, chair pose, tucking our navel to our spine, and then pushing up to mountain pose. Bringing our arms down to Anjali Mudra and just relaxing for a moment. Woohoo. And we'll bring our pinky toes out to the edges of the mat, tucking our heels in toward the middle at a 45-degree angle. And then we'll slowly lower our hips down to our ankles, bringing our torso between our legs, elbows to the inner part of our knees. And then bringing our sit bones down to the mat. We're coming into staff pose. So our legs are extended straight in front, toes are pointing up to the sky. You can take your fists and just kind of push down, lifting your hips off and then settling back down. Nice straight back for staff pose. And we'll take our right foot, taking the foot and placing it on the outer side of the left knee. And then we'll wrap our left arm around the right knee, sending our right fingertips back, the sage pose, sending our gaze straight out. And then turning back, we'll do that on the other side, coming back to staff pose, straight back, bringing our left foot to the outer side of our right leg, wrapping our right arm around our left leg, sending the left hand behind our hips, twisting so we send our gaze straight forward, long side of the mat. And then coming back, the staff pose. We're going to roll down on our back. So again, your choice. I think I'm going to use the express method. Tucking my hands underneath my knees and then just rolling back. Interlacing fingertips on the knees, just giving the knees a nice hug. Maybe rocking back and forth. Then we'll do some what I call rowboats. We'll place hands on the knees and extend the arms straight forward. And then bring the knees out to each side, bringing the soles of the feet together, and guiding the knees back toward the shoulders. And then closing the knees over the chest. We'll do that a few more times. So extending the arms straight ahead, opening the knees to each side, sole of your feet come together, and then bringing your knees back toward your shoulders and closing the knees over your chest. We'll do that one more time, extending the arms fully forward, opening the knees to each side, guiding your hands or your knees back to your shoulders, and closing your knees over your chest and giving them a nice hug. And we'll set the feet on the mat. And we'll have them about hip width apart. We'll do a few bridges here. So with our hands alongside, palms facing down to support. We're going to tuck our navel to our spine, making a nice bowl shape with our tummy, and then pushing into our feet, lifting our hips up to the sky. And then slowly bringing that spine back down to the mat, one vertebra at a time. And we'll do that again. Again, tucking your, excuse me, tucking your navel to your spine, creating that bowl, and then pushing down into your feet, lifting your hips up to the sky. Maybe come up a little bit higher, bringing your shoulder blades a little, or your shoulders rather, under your torso just a little bit. And slowly lowering back down to the mat, connecting each vertebra with the mat as you go. And then one last time, tucking the navel in, pushing into the feet, lifting your hips up. And then back down, slowly, with control. Until you reach the mat. We'll bring our knees to our chest again. Send our arms out to each side at shoulder height. Exhale, bringing the knees to the right side. Slowly turning our head to the left fingertips. And then gently sending your gaze back up to the sky, lifting your legs back up. And then exhaling, lowering your knees to the left side. Once they've landed, slowly turning your head to the right fingertips. And slowly turning your head back to center. Inhale, lifting your legs back to center. And then sending your feet down to the bottom of the mat, preparing for Shavasana. Send your feet out to the corners and let them just flop open. Bring your arms in toward your torso, but keeping them out at a diagonal, lifting the palms up toward the sky. And take 3 deep breaths, inhaling through your nose and then exhaling through your mouth. With an open mouth, big sigh. Let your body melt into the mat. And today I have a poem for you by Danna Faulds titled The Practice of Meditation. This isn't rocket science, you know. It's just sitting with what is, letting the whole wild and impossible conundrum of life touch me, change me, shake me awake. This isn't difficult exactly, but neither is it easy to witness sensations and thoughts without withdrawing, defending, pretending to be somewhere else. You'd think simply being present would be the most natural act in the world. But in fact, it requires the unwinding of patterns, the unlearning of thought loops, the refusal to stay in old grooves. It's a practice, this choice to be still and know what I know while allowing the ocean of my unknowing to scour the mind's shoreline until awareness is laid bare and the subtle sound of breath vies with silence for my attention.